From Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Welcome into Sports Talk here on South Carolina Radio Network. Kevin McCrary, the Professor Tom Hayes, holding it down in studio. Phil Kornbluth is back from a 2-week hiatus. Somehow he took off for 2 straight weeks. I didn't even know he was gone, to be honest with you. I had no idea that Korn was gone. He's back. Well, he's back to the Magic Radio, not in studio. He is in the chaos, the circus that is SEC Media Days, day 1. In the books in Hoover. Kornbluth was there for all of it. We will connect with him momentarily and see what's going on. We'll hear from some of the coaches that he chit-chatted with. A changing of the guard, a new commissioner making the rounds today for the first time in several years at the SEC. So a lot going on there. And in studio,
I'm connected on
sporting another Super Bowl ring, offensive line coach with the New England Patriots. Former sports contributor.
Okay.
Yeah, that was big. That was big. Well, I know that you were getting grief from that by radio guys in New England when you guys were struggling earlier in the season.
Even the sports talk guys, which I can't get it. We don't like it. We have no respect
for ourselves, much less anybody else that does it. But yeah, it turned out great for you. We were worried about you a little bit at the beginning.
Well, I appreciate that.
They were going after you hardcore, and every game I would watch on the NFL ticket, they're just showing Googe on the sidelines. He's the offensive line coach. You got a lot of FaceTime on television this year, my friend.
Yeah, well, the offensive line coach gets FaceTime when things are bad.
Yes.
Never when things are good.
Right. Well, it turned out pretty well for you, though.
Yes, it did.
But what about when you coach and you rather kind of turn bad early so you can rectify it? I've seen teams just play like dynamite the first 6 weeks, and then suddenly they're off the face of the earth.
Well, you can't control it. The players have to play, and things have to click, and you have to have some luck. And it happened the right way, as you say. It happened bad early and good late, real good late.
Am I hearing this correctly? He's on the line. He's with us. We thought he was gone. A lot of people thought he was fired. He was not fired. He is back from vacation. He has been in Hoover all day. The one, the only, the Corn.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Good to be with you from Hoover, Alabama, side of SEC Media Days for 2015. Just wrapping up upstairs with the last coach to come through today. We've heard from Vanderbilt. We've heard from Florida. And we've heard from Auburn today, and we'll fill you in on what the coaches had to say and some of the other developments here. Googe, good to see you and good to be back with everybody after being away for vacations. We've got a lot to talk about, guys, and look forward to bringing it all to you from Hoover here coming up.
Yes, we're going to hit a break. We will jump into it. All sorts of things to get into. We'll take phone calls, get into emails, tweets, all that good stuff, and find out what's going down in Hoover as we really hit the hot and heavy countdown to the start of the football season, right around the corner.
Hey, Googe. Hey, Googe. Hey, Googe. All right, Graham, talk to me as soon as you can here.
All right, Corn, you there?
Yeah. Do you hear me okay?
Yeah, actually, I'm not going to say too much because I'm superstitious, but yeah, I hear you just fine.
Okay, now why? Okay, now do you hear me?
Well, I did hear you, and then it just cut out.
Okay, I muted my. Why is it that I couldn't, or I'm hearing, why couldn't I hear them? I was getting feedback, and then I had to kill the audio on my laptop. What am I not doing right? It's been a while since I've done that. What am I not doing right? Were they getting feedback? Was it feeding back when we first started, when you first brought me up? Was it starting to feed back a little bit?
No, I did have a moment there where they're using different mics. You know, K-Mac's sitting in your seat, and he's using mic 4 as opposed to 1 because the mics got moved around. So I had him off mic there. That might have been what it was. That makes sense?
No,
I feel like I've lost you. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. So I hear you fine, and you hear me fine. When we first started, I thought I was hearing.
You want me to bring them up so you can hear them real fast? Just hear them talk?
Yeah.
There you go.
They drink, how much they sleep.
You guys are on the internet. Give me 1 second. Your whole thing.
All right, I hear them. I hear them. Okay. That sounded fine. So have K-Mac just direct things on his end right now and bring me in. And you get off the website, get Derek Mason and get Jim McElwain. We'll run those two since the Gamecocks play them. We'll run those two. And
okay.
And you want to get past where they say they're happy to be back. And I didn't get a chance to pull out any pieces from it for the show. So see if you can. McElwain is really short with his opening statement. His should be more Q&A. You might want to pick his up with the first question instead of his opening statement because he doesn't say much of anything unless you got time to clean it up.
I'll clean it up a little bit.
Okay, so get those ready and we'll do recruiting. And I'm going to leave the video down. I don't think I'm going to do video from here in an effort to give us more bandwidth. Maybe that'll help keep the signal consistent. I don't know why I can't get the freaking box to, I swear, every year at Media Days, it's something. Every year, it's something. So have K-Mac bring me in. Let's do some Q&A amongst us and just kind of talk for a little bit. I've got my text box open, so you can talk to me there if we have calls or anything.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? If I sound good enough, let me bring it back. If I sound solid, I'll bring it back.
Did you hear me, Corn?
No, I didn't. Say again.
So you think you want to try to bring it back here?
Yeah, I'll bring it back.
All right, let's give it a shot.
Get this down. I can't. I don't know what the problem is. If it's it might be my cord. I might have a bad cord here. That's what it appears to be. Appears to be a bad cord. And we are back. Sports Talk from Hoover, Alabama, as well as from downtown Columbia. Our studios on Main Street. It is SEC Media Days for 2015. Phil Kornblut here in Hoover. Good to be back with you. Good to be back from vacation. I do need a vacation from my vacation. Gooch, 2 weeks at the beach at one spot. It's too much. It's like you've come all the way down from Boston. Now you're going to spend all this time on the lake here in South Carolina. Eventually, you're going to be ready to go back to the north and get after it.
Phil, your life is a vacation. Even when you're in Columbia, you're on vacation. All I hear about is golf and the work is not in your vocabulary.
Well, since you did bring up golf, I did have a couple of good rounds at the beach, and I still have more to go before the summer is out. Just because vacation is over, it does not mean golf is over. But it's good to have you with us in the studio. Good seeing you. The bald head looks good. I like the growth on the chin. Looks pretty sharp as well.
I had to get a little rugged, I mean, up in New England, we got a lot of inclement weather. I need a little protection.
Corn, he brought his new Super Bowl ring in, and it by far, the giant Super Bowl ring was pretty sweet. The Tiffany ring. But this thing, it's way bigger, way heavier. It is Robert Kraft, he did not spare any expense with these rings.
We're actually using it as a doorstop right now.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. they give rings to the second best team in the league.
Well, I just wanted to bring it. I was hoping you would be here to show you that it doesn't have a G or a B on it.
It should have a G on it, and we're going to get ours. We're going to get what's coming our way. You have to admit, Gooch. I mean, I know you guys won the Super Bowl. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
And that was a great game and a great victory. But you didn't want anything to do with the Packers. I mean, let's face it. You were happy it was Seattle. You guys didn't want anything to do with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Well, they sure have a fine team, and if it weren't for the fringe fans that are about the country, like yourself, they would be just a tremendous organization. But it's a great place to play, a great organization, and Aaron Rodgers is probably the best in the business.
Yeah.
Well, guy that plays for you that you work on protecting is pretty good too.
Well, I believe he's the best that ever played, but I'm a little biased. So he's not only a great player, but he's a great coworker, and I love every minute I can spend around him. I learn from the guy.
Well, here's it. Gooch, how does a man like that last to the sixth round? What happens?
Well, you know how it is. They go off of statistics, and he's not the strongest arm guy, and he's not the fastest guy. Those are documented, but he's probably the most intelligent in terms of being a quarterback and knowing where to go with the football, at least that I've been around. I've been around a lot of interesting characters at quarterback, and this guy is a line coach's dream.
Hey, Gooch, if the football that Russell Wilson was using there on that last series had not been underinflated, he might not have thrown it so poorly. How do you explain that?
Some guys don't know how to handle it.
And some guys really do, don't they? They know how to handle those underinflated balls.
I'm not here to talk about those things. I'm here to talk about college football, recruiting, the future, the National Football League as we go into 2015. How's that sound, Phil?
That sounds fine. And I know you guys with the Patriots, that's taboo to talk about Tom Brady and the deflated footballs and all that. I get that. I want to ask you this. Now, when you were coaching at South Carolina and SEC Media Days came, or let's say July 4th came and went, how did the mindset of a coach change from maybe a little bit of a break and vacation to shifting into that 150-mile-an-hour full speed ahead preparation for the upcoming season?
Phil, it wasn't until the women's clinic that my head got back to football. Once we were past the women's clinic and I was able to perform in front of 1,400 women, then I could start concentrating on football. But not until.
What did trying to explain football to 1,400 women, did that kind of force you to dig down deep and refine your football knowledge and bring it back to the surface?
Well, it was a lot easier to talk to them about football than you sometimes. But they were a lot better audience and a lot better to look at.
I'll give you that. There's no question about that. All right, Gooch is in the studio with us. We've got some comments coming up from Jim McElwain, the new Florida coach. He made his first appearance today here at SEC Media Days, and he didn't have a lot to say in an opening statement. He took a lot of questions. And Derek Mason from Vanderbilt, he was quite blunt. He took the responsibility for last year's terrible season. At Vanderbilt, they went 0-8 in the SEC, 3-9 overall. He made some staff changes. He believes his football team's a heck of a lot better. He thought he was just going to walk into a situation where he would inherit a football team that would play like an SEC team. This is what he said. And it turned out not to be the case for him. He learned from that. He's brought in a new offensive coordinator. He's going to focus on the defensive side of things. And then Gus Malzahn, he was here today as well from Auburn. He talked about his quarterback, Jeremy Johnson, and he likes him as a quarterback in terms of a thrower, says he can make all the throws, and he's a better runner than people give him credit for. At about 6'5", he's a much different type of quarterback than they had with Nick Marshall, who was just a tremendous athlete playing quarterback, but who could make plays with his arms and his legs. Johnson is a guy who really has a big arm, but he says he's not going to adjust his offense all that much. He's still going to do the things that they've been doing at Auburn and that he's done throughout his coaching career, but he is going to take advantage of this guy with the big arm. So those are the three coaches that we had in today, and the new commissioner, Greg Sankey, also spoke today kind of the state of the state for the SEC. He talked about, of course, replacing Mike Slive and stepping into those shoes, and he talked about what he foresees for the league moving forward. Some of the same things that Slive talked about. He wants 0 teams on probation. He wants 0 teams being in a position where they have to forfeit a championship because of violations of some sort or anything beyond the involvement of the athletes in their external affairs. We're talking about academic fraud and things of that nature. He wants none of that in the SEC. He wants to focus on off-the-field behavior of the athletes and make sure that they understand what's expected of them and how to behave as athletes in the SEC. And, of course, he talked about the expected continued growth of the SEC. Though, K-Mac, there was a story, and I know you saw it over the weekend. There was a story out about ESPN as a entity losing a ton of money and cable systems as a group losing millions of subscribers. And I'm wondering how that could trickle down and affect this SEC network and its contract in the years to come.
Yeah, well, they're talking about the bubble might be about to burst, and you've seen ESPN lay off a couple of high-profile guys. And Bill Simmons was laid off. Keith Olbermann, his contract wasn't renewed. And by the way, both of those guys had big contracts, and they both criticized a lot Roger Goodell, and that's kind of a no-no in the ESPN world because of all the money they spend for the NFL. They don't like it when any of their people criticize Roger Goodell. So both of those guys, who were the most outspoken critics of the commissioner of the NFL, are now no longer employed by the worldwide leader. So if you have a big salary, don't criticize Roger Goodell at ESPN, or you're probably not going to have a job longer. Bill Simmons was huge. He was really one of their big guys on that network and had Grantland, and that might go away now. I think that bubble might be about to burst, and they can't go back to the cable companies and put the screws on them. They just did that and said, raise the rates or we're going to black you out. They're running out of options now.
Well, as I said before, there's going to be a period where the golden goose is going to pass away. And you keep squeezing on it, that's what happens. I think probably with some downsizing, and I'm not so certain, even with the loss of money, Keith Olbermann's ultimate goal in life is to be fired. That's the way he works. He likes to push the envelope.
He's succeeding very well.
Exactly. And as far as Mason is concerned, you talked about Vanderbilt. It is just very difficult, in my opinion, that a meat and potatoes coach can come into a situation where El McGantry just left. Because let's face it, James Franklin was a master motivator. His teams played well above their heads.
Jesus. All right. I'm still solid with you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I cannot get this line. I don't know if I've got a bad cord. It might be my bad cord. Might have a bad cord. Damn it, Must be my cord. Anybody holding?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, we'll keep rolling here. But we're pretty solid right now, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll just roll this way as best we can. One, two, one, two, one, two. I can't even shift into my other form of broadcasting because the box is dead. Give me a 30-second heads up if you would.
We're coming back in 10 here.
All right, that's close enough.
I'll type to you when we're ready here.
Yeah, keep me abreast in the dialogue box best you can. And tell Pro don't take it so close to the mic. Yeah. It is SEC Media Days 2015 from the Hyatt Regency Birmingham, also known as the Winfrey Hotel. They have fancied up their name. When Hyatt took it over, it's now the Hyatt Regency Birmingham, the annual SEC Media Days 2015. Oh, they say, I don't like to refer to them all as media. There's over 1,000 people here. I don't like to say covering the event. There's over 1,000 people here doing one thing or another. Some of us are media actually covering the event. Others are fans portraying themselves as media, hanging around, doing various things. But it is a big, big show with radio shows from all across the Southeast here lined up and down Radio Hall. SEC Media Days has been pretty much taken over by the SEC and network, ESPN and the SEC network. They have two big studios, mobile studios, platforms set up in two different areas, upstairs in the main meeting areas, one out in the lobby area, and another. In fact, you might get a chance to see me on television walking back and forth, because they have a set in the back part of the room, the main media room, where they're doing various shows while coaches are coming in and out, and the big media gathering is in that room behind them. And so when they turn the cameras around, you might see my shiny head up towards the front, asking the hard probing questions. Gooch, I asked the hard probing questions.
So I know you.
I'm going to ask Saban when Saban's here in the next couple of days. I'm going to ask him, why are you so short? But why are you so powerful? How can you be so short and be so powerful? You saw what you did.
This is the Napoleonic complex, of course.
Well,
if you look around, he'll have his hand inside his shirt pocket in the front, just like Napoleon.
You can't question success.
No, he's got it done. Same with Urban Meyer. Everywhere he goes, he wins.
Being tall has nothing to do with it, Phil.
Yeah. How tall is Belichick?
About my height.
Yeah.
Not very tall. 5'8" and a half. 5'9".
Being around him like you have been here the last couple of years.
Last year. I was unemployed this time. Went from unemployment to world champion. Don't forget that, Phil.
Well, so you've made all the difference in the world. You've made all the difference in the world.
No, so I made no difference.
Do you put him in the genius category as a football mind?
He is the smartest man I've ever worked with when it comes to football, for sure. He sees the game differently, and he expresses it differently to the players and to the coaches, and it makes a difference. It truly does.
How different is his persona behind the scenes and what we see on the cameras, like in the interview sessions?
Oh, that's what it is. He's very matter of fact and to the point, and that's how he wants his team to be.
Yeah. He can't be that short with the team in terms of his comments compared to his post-game interviews. I mean, those are ridiculously short. All right, hang on, guys. We'll be back. More Sports Talk, SEC Media Days, as well as from downtown Columbia. We'll take some calls. We'll hear from more coaches coming up. All right. How are we doing, State Man?
Can you hear K-Mac?
No, not right now. I can't.
You want to bring you up? I had to bring you up.
Yeah, bring him up.
I had to bring
him up.
Try now.
Hello, hello.
I hear him now.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, we've got a guy. He's getting us audio from Cincinnati. Do we want to have him on from the All-Star game tonight, tomorrow? Both? One?
I mean, what do you think? I would say
maybe tomorrow before the game, after the home run derby.
We're going to have a lot of Gamecock stuff tomorrow night. But, yeah, let's stick with the football tonight. Tomorrow night might be fun.
I have Shelby Miller. Oh, Gardner. I didn't think about Gardner.
He might get him. That'd be good.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah. New York's finest. Hey, Gooch, sorry about your Red Sox over the weekend. We had to kick that ass.
You're not alone, Phil. Buy a ticket, get a piece of that thing.
Of course, the Red Sox, they're no longer the pride of New England.
No, I grew up up there. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't matter how bad the Red Sox are. They're still the #1 show.
Yeah.
Now,
really, I mean, they're the bigger item than the Patriots and the Celtics.
well, they have a much longer history, and it's part of the fabric of the city. A little bit different.
And the Bruins second, aren't they?
Bruins have a very close following. I just don't know. I'm not a big hockey fan, so
I got you down, Corn. When do you want to get into Derek and Jim?
Yeah, we'll do that second hour.
Okay. You told him, is Mike there?
No, he had called me and said he was going to try to come, but I hadn't seen him.
Yeah, I talked to him one day last week. He said he was 50-50. Didn't know if he was going to make it.
I'd say he's zero out of.
You want to try to have him on tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll check with him right now.
We still sounding solid?
Yep, don't screw it up.
All right. Well, I'm trying not to.
Remind me to tell you something when we get off the air.
Yeah, and tell K-Mac I've got some stuff to tell him when we get off the air, too.
Okay, team meeting when we go off the air.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, hi. How are you? Don't be hanging out with that guy. That guy drags you down.
I'll be hurting material at 11. So at 8 o'clock, I'm going to do a look live for you.
Should I start a rumor? Bring your wife? Should I start a rumor? Ooh, be careful.
Yeah, just can you get a right cover?
Yeah, I actually have one. I get one right here. Good seeing you. Give her airtime. All right, you do background. Oh me. One, two. Anybody holding?
No, sir. We come back at 20.
Okay. Come back to me, Susie.
Stand by.
And we're back. Phil Kornblut in Hoover, Alabama. SEC Media Days for 2015. All the big stars, for the most part, are here as we get the college football season underway. Actually, it's pretty much an understated collection of athletes around the SEC coming to this thing this year. Nick Chubb is not coming from Georgia. Now, Pharaoh Cooper is coming from South Carolina. He is certainly a big star in the league. Sky Moore is coming from South Carolina. He's a pretty big star in the league, but the problem is the Gamecocks aren't going to get a whole lot of respect from the media when it comes to picking the East, I wouldn't think. But, around the league, outside of Dak Prescott, there's just not going to be a lot of big-name individual players. Jeremy Johnson was here today from Auburn. He's pretty big name, but he's never been a full-time starter. So it's not one of those years where you got – boy, I've been here some years, guys, and you just got one mega star from a team after another filing through here, and it creates a lot of buzz. Not so much the case this year, but that's okay. It'll be more about the teams and not so much the individuals. Dave DeGuglielmo's with us in our studio back in Columbia, along with K-Mac and the Pro. If you'd like to join us, we'll open 567266 is the number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. And on Twitter, of course, our Twitter feed is always hopping with comments and information at SportsTalkSC on Twitter. is where you can find us there, and on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network, and of course the website is sportstalksc.com. We've got the coverage from the three coaches who came through today up on the website right now, so check that out. We've got some lines open and some time to take some calls for you at 800-956-7266. So, Googe, I know that since you've been back in the state, relaxing a little bit, you've no doubt been catching up on the Gamecocks and the Tigers and other teams around the state, the SEC and the ACC. What are your thoughts on Clemson in this upcoming season with a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, but a defense that lost a ton of outstanding players? They've had a little bit of a troubling offseason. They've really had 4 major news media episodes to deal with. You had Dabo Sweeney's issue about speaking to a particular group that he ended up not going to, and then you've had 3 players either suspended or dismissed from the team. So they've had some distractions in the offseason. What do you think about the Tigers in 2015?
Well, as far as distractions, compared to some of the other things that are going on in the country, I think the distractions are minor. Now, the loss of some players, if a team can replace people and be successful, it's going to be Clemson. I mean, they're one of the best-looking teams in America. We always make fun up in the NFL, but they're the team that should be getting out first and walking on the field. They look like a pro. So I'm sure there's players in the building. Lost. I know losing linemen late here to the supplemental draft, that won't help things at this late date, but they'll figure it out. Dabo Sweeney's a great player.
Did you guys look at Isaiah Bell as a possible guy you would take?
I don't know. We have nothing to do with personnel.
Coach Good, if he shows up in the meeting room and they're there, hey, Isaiah, nice to see you.
All I know is we drafted 2 young men, one from Florida State, one from Georgia Tech, and we signed the center from Georgia.
Did you drive up so you weren't up at the Clemson Pro Day when he was there?
I was not.
I don't
Well,
know.
if you're a college line coach and you got a right-handed quarterback and they said, hey, we got a true freshman that's going to start at left tackle, what do you do?
It better be pretty darn good. I mean, but if he's that good, that's what you do. You play the man. And, I mean, in order for a player to come in as a freshman and play, especially at that critical position, I'm sure he's a tremendous athlete, and so he's going to have to be. Or you design your protections to give him some help.
But Goose, in the ACC or the SEC, and Pro touches on a good point, Clemson's going to be starting a true freshman, Mitch Hyatt, at left tackle. Now, he came into school in January, so he's gone through spring practice, but that's not the same thing as game speed and game responsibilities. Now, they do have a couple of lighter games to open the season, Wofford and Appalachian, before they have to go to Louisville. But all that being said, there's very few true freshmen who start in major college Power 5 conference football, especially at the all-important left tackle position, that don't cause your offense some problems somewhere down the line. Would you agree with that?
Well, I'm sure it'll be difficult, but Coach Caldwell up there, if he has to mix it up, he'll mix it up. He'll take the right tackle and move him to left. I mean, you're going to find a way to get it done. It may be rocky early on, as we experienced ourselves last year. You just try to find the right combination of players and do the things that utilize their talents and stay away from other areas of the offense. And maybe it's less 5- and 7-step drop passes, and it's more 3-step passes or sprint out away from them, or run game one way versus the other. I mean, there's a bunch of ways to hide the deficiency. And again, if he's playing left tackle at Clemson, he's probably a tremendous athlete and has some intangibles that we don't know about from the outside.
We were talking about Clemson's personnel, and you talked about how good they look. And I know he had a injury-marred season last year, but the hype over Deshaun Watson is at the college level. It's very hot and very intense going into this season. From where you're sitting in the pro level, is there much talk about him around the Patriots or around the NFL that you've heard, or was it way too soon for that kind of talk to reach where you are?
Well, I'm sure on the personnel parts of the business, but right now coaches are focused on coaching. and they're not so much worried about what's going to happen with the talent coming up next year or what's happening in college football. We get very little information on that end. It's different in college. You're recruiting while you're coaching, so it's two pieces. Those two pieces don't coexist.
And now, guys, Clemson's going to put in a true freshman there where Isaiah Battle was. And I know Gooch loves true freshmen. They're his favorite.
Freshmen, rookies, and kickers. Put them all in the same bucket. Dump them in the ocean.
All right, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. What about the Gamecocks, Gooch? They were riding high there for 3 years, 11 wins each of those years, and competing for the East and being ranked in the top 10. And, it was all going great for them. And then they have that year last year where it could easily have been another great year, or it could have been worse than it was. So they had one of those years where everything was down to the wire for them in many games, and it went against them more often than it didn't, though the Florida game went in their favor. So what about rebounding for them with an untested quarterback, a new defensive coordinator, new personnel all around, especially on the defensive side? Can you expect them to be a much better team, especially? Do you expect I know the defense can't be much worse, but can they make that major step forward as a defensive unit and become a top 30, top 40 kind of defensive unit?
Well, I mean, you have to trust in the coach, and he made the changes he needed to make without completely disrupting the building. It keeps some stability on the defense, but yet has a new flavor, a new style, a new approach, a new way of looking at it. I think that personnel, Gamecocks, a lot like Clemson, they have plenty of people in that building over there. It's just a matter of even to play up to their level, playing up the level that they had been playing at. Now, you can't replace it to Davian Clowney, these type of players, but somebody in that building is able to perform at a level that'll be similar to that. And you got to believe that Coach Spurrier knows how to get that done. He's made the hard decisions in the offseason. They've had a heck of a spring practice. I got a chance to watch a lot of that online, look at a lot of the clips and some of the comments from Coach Spurrier and his staff throughout the spring. So to me, it's got to be better than last year. I think the players probably feel a little bit embarrassed that they let some of the fans down from last year. I don't know that directly. I haven't spoken to any of them, but just as a competitor, I would feel that it's time to go to another level.
I wanted to ask Gooch, Phil, that why is it that seems that some teams historically, you can answer this question when we get back from the break, play better when they're the underdog versus when they're the favorite? And South Carolina seems to be one of those teams where you say, this is going to be a good year because nobody's saying anything about them. They like to sleep and hang in the weeds.
Okay, I've got the tie line connected. Let's switch over to that. You copy me? Slightest move. Let's leave the other one down in the queue. Yeah. If I drop out, 10 minutes. If I drop out, have them jump in, and I'll just switch it. I'll keep my headset. Hang out. I didn't know that. Tell me that again. Just Founders Federal and played against them. Yes, says that fans don't want to they should be the favorite in this game. I don't buy that. I don't think Jitsi does either, but I mean, I think he certainly was said there's a lot of confidence there. For now.
Look. Huge. Hey, steak man. Steak man.
A quick break from the football talk for our Braves report tonight. Of course, it is the All-Star break. Braves went on All-Star break a little bit early. Braves report brought to you by Play It Again Sports off Ballard Parkway in Columbia, where you pay less for more, and by Founders Federal Credit Union, helping South Carolinians attain their financial goals. Mike Morgan joining us now. What do you say we just leave the Braves team that went to Denver out in Denver for the second half of the season and just find another bunch of Braves players in those uniforms?
I think that'd be okay. You still have Freddie Freeman because he wasn't there. So, or he was there, but he wasn't in uniform. So I'd make a stipulation that says Freddie Freeman doesn't count because he's technically on the disabled list but not play.
Yeah.
So then you start your nucleus with Freddie, and you pick up some new guys and some guys off the DL. It was just a series that was bad, and then even worse on Saturday with the way they lost it. And of course, the final kick in the groin was the injury to Grilly, which will have the Braves closer out the rest of the year. So you go to the break now, 5 games under 500 with losing 5 in a row against less than stellar competition, and just kind of shake it off. I think one thing that, in lieu of the events that happened this past weekend, we can safely say if the Braves weren't sellers before, they certainly are now. So John Hart and company will be answering the phone and listening to every possible offer. I think the only untouchable players are Freddie Freeman, and I don't think even though he's struggling at the plate this year, I don't think they're going to deal Andrelton Simmons, and obviously guys like Shelby Miller and Alex Wood. Those guys are, and even Julio Teheran. Those guys will be here long term, I believe. But anybody else, very much available if you want to wheel and deal.
In the case of Grilly's injury, had he had any discomfort, anything leading into it that would indicate that was a sensitive area, or just that case of a middle-aged man overextending himself and popping that Achilles?
We can all relate to that, right? I mean, for those of us who still play pickup basketball. No, it's a good question, but even at 38, Grilly was as healthy as a cat for most of this first half of the season, showed no signs of anything. But as you know about Achilles, not even just 38-year-old guys, 22-year-old guys, there's usually no warning. When an Achilles pops, it's usually one of those freakish things, and it can happen to anybody at any time. And when it does, it's extremely painful, and it is extremely troublesome because you're going to be out for a while. And in the case of Grilly, obviously a while means the rest of the season. That's a guy that certainly would have brought some value on the trading circuit. Now you don't have him to deal. I don't think Jim Johnson has as much value. He becomes the new Braves closer. So it's a problem that was a problem on top of a problem on top of a problem. It really was one of the worst things you could have seen happen in that series. I think Vizcaíno is going to be the setup guy for a while.
Okay.
Johnson's going to be the closer. Vizcaíno is a guy that has closer stuff. I mean, he will touch 97, 98 on the gun. That's why they've gone after him twice now, going back to the Javier Vasquez deal in 2010. But he still has to polish his game before he can put him in that role.
All right, Mike, like in the All-Star game, of course, you know it does mean something with the winning league getting that all-important 7th game in the World Series. But listen, we can't sigh and shrug our shoulders. It is what it is, and it can be important come the 7th game of the World Series. Huh?
Well, we can't shrug our shoulders, but we can still hold that decision by Bud Selig in disdain because it really is a silly thing to do. For an exhibition game where managers are more concerned about playing the most players as opposed to actual strategy and doing everything they can to win the game. I'm a National League guy. I'll go with the National League, but I still feel weird about the fact that the team that wins it actually gives that particular team in their respective league home field advantage.
All right, Mike, enjoy the All-Star break, and we'll talk to you later in the week.
You got it.
Thank you much, Mike Morgan, with our Braves report here on Sports Talk. Of course, we've got a South Carolinian. We've got one South Carolinian in the game, right? Brett Gardner from the Yankees. Anybody else with South Carolina ties in the game? I can't think of any.
Probably is, but I don't know. But I tell you what, Corn, in this case, it might be true. Since so many Kansas City Royals were voted in or put on the team, they want to win the game so they can have the 7th game in their ballpark. They would be trying to win this game tomorrow night.
Well, I would think so. And I don't disagree with Mike that it's for such an important thing. 7th game of a 7-game series, to be able to host it is definitely an advantage. And to have that placed on the back of what is an exhibition game where the managers are trying to get everybody into the game and not really using normal baseball strategy, that is a bit of a stretch. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
By 3 o'clock tomorrow. I've seen him in person. You know who he looks like? You coach Garrett Anderson. That game was like a blowout. We miss you so much. We miss you so much. He's working with the Gamecocks. He's in a It's a what do you call it? Quality control kind of thing. I'm like that. Yeah. Hey, what? By the way, I come up to Boston. Right? I want to come to a Patriots game. Where are my tickets? Well, you know, I gave you 3 months. Look. You're watching the ball.
In honor of the visit by Gooch to Sports Talk tonight, we have an extended extra meeting with a lot what are they like up there? A lot of New England clam chowder spilled all over the recruiting report.
Love it. Talk about linemen. Oh, if you talk about anything other than linemen, I'll be disappointed, Phil.
Well, I'm going to lead off with two big uglies. I like it. Will Putnam from Harrisburg, North Carolina, spent about 4 hours at USC today, mostly with line coach Sean Elliott. Of course, he was in for their camp month 2. So, final decision for him between USC and Virginia Tech by 3 o'clock tomorrow. He told us this afternoon that he's pretty much made up his mind, but he didn't hint which way he might be thinking right now. But he said that the visit went great. Spent a lot of time at the business school, a lot of time talking to Sean Elliott. He's going to talk to his Virginia Tech recruiters tonight, also his football and basketball coaches to get their input. And he hopes to have a decision, plans to have a decision by tomorrow by 3 o'clock, and he'll call the schools and let them know. Meantime, tackle Leota from Asheville, he's a 307-pounder. Down to USC, North Carolina, Virginia Tech. Recently went to Chapel Hill. That put the Tar Heels in the lead right now by a little bit. But he's been in touch with Sean Elliott and Deke Adams from USC, and he's coming in for USC pool party later this month when they open up the new apartments that many of the football players will be living in, connected to this pool party.
Pool party.
He also plans.
I thought that was a misread when I saw that last week.
Pool party, Phil. Is it at your house? Is that your house, Phil?
Diving in the pool, swimming. It's a pool party. Anyway, don't interrupt. He also plans to visit Virginia Tech this summer, and he has no idea when he'll make a decision. Clemson will have a bunch of targets in Friday for the annual All-In Cookout. Defensive end Xavier Kelly of Wichita, who's living this summer with his father in Savannah, plans to be in attendance. It'll be his second visit to Clemson. He was there back in May to check out the Tigers. He's made 15 visits over the spring and summer. Not sure of any other future visit. Doesn't plan a commitment until the All-American game in January. Today, USC offered linebacker Travez Moore of Bastrop, Louisiana. He's a teammate of receiver target Isaiah Graham. Clemson offered 2017 linebacker Avery Roberts of Wilmington, Delaware, and 2017 running back DeAndre Swift of Philadelphia. In basketball, USC today offered 2017 guard Devontae Schuler from Irma. Clemson has also offered him. USC last week offered 6'6" Jalen Johnson of Durham. He also has a Clemson offer. USC target 6'11" Nasir Brooks of Burlington, New Jersey, committed to Cincinnati over the weekend. 6'2" Tariq Simmons, a 2017 prospect from Keenan, plans to visit USC Friday. That's according to the Round Ball Rundown report. Today, Clemson offered 6'7" Wyatt Wilkes of Winter Park, Florida. And in baseball, 2017 right-hander Shane Roberts of Jupiter, Florida, committed to USC today. Former Clemson signee catcher Cal Raleigh is going to Florida State. And right-handed pitcher Jackson Cower is going to Florida. Top of the hour break. We'll be back.
Meaty, juicy, saucy. Hey, if you can take it down, I'll tell you something juicy. Not one out of here. Absolutely sure. Well, it's about. I know a buddy of mine was up in the upstate. Gathering of this. And they were at this guy's house. He was a person graduate, a big cut man. And apparently, 8 months later, go up to his house to hang out and play and use his boat and all that kind of stuff. And Pharaoh Cooper was there. He met Pharaoh Cooper on Saturday. And Joseph Griffin was there with him. And they were talking to him, and they asked somebody asked him, my brother's playing not too good. His response was, "You smoke too much." My buddy didn't know if that meant dope or cigarettes. I guess it's weed. They say smoke. Smokes too much. Never works out. Never seen it the way it is. Not respected by his teammates. So that's not for repeating. That's kind of influences our life. Well, he's athletic. He didn't play quarterback. He played quarterback. He wasn't starting quarterback. But that could be, yeah, I was going to say, that could be a reflection of the offense they're running. I mean, Goose, you put Aaron Rodgers in your offense, he's only going to throw for about 1,500 yards. Come on. Aaron Rodgers. Talk about that coming up. Stay tuned. Yeah, Lord. Well, is there anybody seriously? Anybody better at sliding their feet, finding the pocket, the other pocket that makes your offensive line look good? Oh my God, are you kidding me? He dominated that game 55 minutes. 55 minutes. And we had a Newberry grass threw it up for us. I blame it on Minnesota. I blame it on my wife. Everything was going fine. She came and sat down. She said, "What's the score?" I told the score. She said, "Oh, I just wanted to just strangle. I just wanted to strangle. Just sure enough. As soon as that happened, everything's bad. As soon as you said that, everything's going.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts of Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk Carolina Radio Network. Back from vacation, all rested up and ready to roll into the season. That's right, the season is here. This is what we live for. Get past July 4th and get into the football season, into all the preseason talk. It's talking season now. It's talking preseason, then we get to talking season in August when things get serious with practice. Then we get into the season and we see what everybody's got. All the hype videos that the schools are producing, talking about being here and all in, and this is the greatest this and this is the greatest that. It don't mean a thing when we kick it off in September. Don't mean a thing, dude, if you don't get that ring, right?
Don't forget the pool party.
And the pool party.
Are you going to cover the pool party corner? Are you going to wear a Speedo to the pool party and get recruiting information?
I might break out the Speedo. It might embarrass a few people. I might break out the Speedo. My Speedo has a tiger paw on one side and a Rock C Gamecock on the other side. Hey, Goose, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If you, Dave DeGuglielmo's in our studio, by the way, if you were the general manager of the Patriots today, and you had a chance to trade up Tom Brady for Aaron Rodgers today, would you do it?
No. Phil, when we were doing Sports Talk First Edition a year and a half ago, you asked me which quarterback I would want if I was building a team. And what did I give you for an answer? You don't remember, but you debated me, and I said Tom Brady.
I've actually wiped my memory back.
Yes, I'm sure.
Wiped clean. Yeah.
Hey, it's part of my history, though. I was a
Huge.
sports talk guy for a short period of time. But I said Tom Brady, and I'll stand by it. He's a tremendous human being. He's a tremendous competitor, and he's a tremendous football player. I would take Tom Brady. I would take Tom Brady over any quarterback I've ever coached, ever been around. He's a special guy. He's a special guy.
But he's kind of getting, up there in years, long in the tooth.
So are you, but that doesn't mean I go with K-Mac just because you're getting long in the tooth, right? I mean, it is what it is.
He's allegedly turning to desperate measures to enhance his ability to win ball games.
If you talk about great nutrition and working harder than other people, yes, he turns to those.
Here's a question I had for Goose was, Dabo Sweeney was talking about the spread, these fast-paced offenses, and his feeling was you seeing it seep into the NFL. It used to be at the NFL. A lot of things they did down to the college level and high school level. You believe that, or the pocket passer is still the guy that you need to get the ring?
I think the evidence is that the pocket passer will still be dominant in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think the spread's going to, if anything, it's kind of being phased out from what I'm hearing. All right, 800-956-7266. Goose in the studio. We're going to hear from Florida's new coach coming up, also from Vandy's coach coming up as well, and more from here in Hoover in a moment.
Did you say we hit phones? It almost makes me
We come to you tonight from Hoover, Alabama. We'll be here through Thursday. Well, maybe Thursday, could be back in Atlanta for the show since we finish up early in the afternoon. We're here until then with SEC Media Days, and then KMAC will be in Pinehurst for ACC football kickoff. That begins on Monday of next week, Monday and Tuesday of next week. So, of course, we'll have that covered for you here on Sports Talk. 800-956-7266, the number. If you have any comments or questions you want to share with us or throw our way on this Monday night as we roll into the college football season. So much going on here over the next few weeks. We've got SEC Media Days, ACC Media Days, Southern Conference, Big South. We've got the Coach for Charity event coming up. Wednesday, KMAC will be up at Clemson for Dabo Sweeney's meeting with the media, his first one since the end of spring practice, since the spring game, his first formal meeting with media. That'll happen on Wednesday, and he'll have a lot to answer to about the off-the-field behavior of some of his players here recently, which normally a calm time for Clemson has been less than calm, and he still has to answer the question about his kicker, who wasn't dismissed from the team but is facing some drug possession charges and a DUI. And has been suspended. So he's going to have to answer that question. How's he dealing with that? And why is he still in a position to be on the team while the other two fellas were not in that position? Now, it may have to do with his history. Maybe this was a first offense for him, and thus they give him a break and the benefit of the doubt that he can clean it up and come back. The other guys may have had some other issues that led to their dismissal after their issues earlier this spring and summer. So we got that coming up on Wednesday as well. Steve Spurrier and the Gamecock clan will be in here tomorrow. They come in the morning. We'll have it covered for you on our website, sportstalksc.com. Well, also, if Spurrier gets together, typically he gets together with the South Carolina media upstairs here at the Winfrey Hotel before he comes down and has a session with all of us. If he does that, we'll put that up on Periscope on Twitter so you can watch that live. Googe, you do Periscope on Twitter?
I have no idea what that is. Okay.
K-Mac, would you explain to Googe what Periscope is?
I'm still learning myself, but essentially you can videotape things on your phone and it can get broadcast
and we
to the
can
world
see how dangerous
via
it
Twitter.
can be when you do that. the other
Gooch
night
is,
when we
you don't
had
do the
phone
social media thing. You're not on Twitter.
Absolutely not.
You're not on Facebook, Instagram.
I think it would go against team policy for me to be on anything.
You would be great if you didn't have an NFL obligation. Gooch would be great tweeting on a football Saturday and an NFL Sunday. After you retire, whatever the medium is, we need to get Gooch.
I had a question for Corn. Corn, you're there at the SEC Media Days. Been 2 years. 2 years since the SEC has won a national championship. You got guys scratching their heads, and only 4 or 5 returning quarterbacks out of 14 teams. Some worry warts in the rooms there.
Well, yeah. I mean, starting with the commissioner, he wants championships, and he wants the SEC back in the dominant position of winning championships. One of the points he made today was his first couple of days on the job after he took over on June 1st. The SEC won a men's golf championship and a softball championship, so he was off to a good start. He didn't win the baseball championship, of course, but had a chance to win it. So he wants football back where it was. And as you look at the league this year, guys, it might be as wide open in terms of trying to figure out a champion in the preseason as it's been in many, many years. I mean, everybody's got issues. Alabama quarterback concerns, Auburn quarterback concerns, offensive line concerns, new defensive coordinator. Let me take Gus Malzahn said this today, Gooj, and let me get your take on this. He hired Will Muschamp in the offseason, of course, and he said Will Muschamp is not just the best defensive football coach in college football, he's the best defensive football coach in football, period. Your comments?
I have no comment.
Oh, come on.
No, Coach Muschamp is a great defensive football mind. It's proven. It was proven when he was at Florida. It's proven track record as an assistant over the years. Who's the best? Who isn't? I mean, that's. I don't know that you can truly rate that, especially when you're crossing over from college to pro or high school or to whatever level. I mean, he's very good and he'll do a great job. How about that?
Along those same lines, that's a cop-out. Along those same lines.
No, it's the truth.
Yeah, it is the truth.
Did you ever run across John Hoke in your days with the Giants or your year with the Patriots? Y'all ever crossed in any form or fashion?
No. I have worked with people that have worked with him and have spoken very highly of him. I know he's a good coach. And again, you look at track record, look at where they've been and how successful they've been. Not just the program they've been with, but the defenses and the people that he's worked with over the years, the players that he's had play under him. Then tell me what kind of coach he is. And I think he'll do a good job there, especially with Lorenzo Wood still being with him. So you have a combination of two strong personalities to be able to work things out.
Well, my theory on USC's defense is this, Gooj, and I think they're going to be better, not just because they're going to have, I think, better talent, but they're going to be older on defense. They're adding several junior college and prep school guys. And I've always been told by coaches, you like to have guys on the defense and on the offensive line in particular, beards and butts, right? You want guys with big beards and big butts because, the beards show maturity and the flow of hormones that you're looking for to kind of make them stronger men.
Where is he going with this?
And of course, the butts help you with the leverage. Am I right about that?
I guess if you looked at it that way, sure. I mean, as long as you're not talking about women with beards and butts, we're all right. You do want mature players, sure. You want guys that have some experience, some developed men. You obviously come out of high school, you have a ways to go to be able to. There aren't that many Jadeveon Clowneys that are going to walk in and be on par physically with the rest of the team. So junior college guys give a real shot in the arm of talent and maturity, I guess you'd say. But listen, it takes all kinds. It doesn't mean an older player is a better player. It's just you got to get the guys on your roster playing at a high level and believing in themselves. And I think that's going to be the difference. Is it seems to me like there's a different attitude roaming around the defense right now. They have a little bit of – they're getting a little swagger. You hear the linebackers talking about what they're doing and how things have changed. And that's all you need is for kids to believe in what they're doing, and anything can happen.
All right, 800-956-7266, our number. Dave DeGuglielmo is in our studio. How long are you going to be in South Carolina before you have to head back to work and report for the start of training camp?
Well, I'm leaving the end of this coming week, and I start work next Wednesday. We have a long and tiring road ahead, 28 weeks or so of defending a title, and everybody's going to be gunning for the New England Patriots. We have a lot of great players and a great plan in place, and we're just going to work our tails off.
Do you think it's more difficult to defend a title than it is to win it to begin with? I guess this is the second time you've been in that position. And, take Tom Brady, for example. I mean, he's done it multiple times. Where does he find the juice and the excitement want to go do it again?
Well, if you're competitive in the National Football League, there are no bottom dwellers, if you will. Even the teams with poor records can be very competitive. I mean, the Jets were 4-12, I believe, this year, and those were our two closest games against the Jets. So every week is a new challenge. Tom is very youthful in his approach to things, but Coach Belichick does a great job of keeping people focused on this week and only this week. And as the weeks add up, you start to put yourself in position, and that's what we do. And I think that's the only way you can do it as an older veteran guy.
You know, I was in Boston on that Thursday night when y'all played the Jets.
Yeah, we were glad you weren't there, to be quite honest with you.
I was in Boston, yeah. I was hoping to go to the game. I was hoping to be able to get tickets, but my contact let me down, and I had to watch it at a bar with a bunch of Patriots fans. Well, we'll be back. Don't go away. Be right back. All right, Monday edition of Sports Talk from Hoover and downtown Columbia. 800-956-7266 is the number. To Florence we go, listening to us on our Miller Communications station there. Billy, welcome into Sports Talk tonight. How you doing?
Hey, Phil, glad to have you back, and glad it's football season now, my man.
Yeah, it really is. Thank goodness.
It is. Hey, Phil, that was a couple comments I was wanting to make. First, I want your opinion, and K-Max as well. The defensive line at Clemson, losing all the the seniors, kind of looking at Deshaun Williams. I'm talking about depth more or less, and Travarius Barnes and so forth. People think that Clemson's going to have an issue at the defensive line. Now, we know they're not going to have the number one defense in the country. If they do, that's great because they'll probably be in the national championship with that offense they're going to have. But we know that's not true. And I've heard you say a couple of times that the offense is explosive it's going to be, because it'll kind of minus out if the Tigers can maybe maintain a top 20, top 25 defense. And Phil, I think so. I know you've been skeptical of it, but I've been keeping close watch on Christian Wilkins, which is the highly touted 5-star guy to come in out of Connecticut. Was Ohio State and Penn State target. The Tigers landed him. They said that cat might be a defensive end. And you're also looking at Shaq Lawson at defensive end. And you're looking at DJ Reader, which is I think it's going to be a big line with one of the best secondaries in the country with Curse, Mackenzie Alexander, and Mark Fields and Cordell Tankersley. So I'm wondering if you started off optimistic about Clemson's defense. I'm wondering what brought to being a little skeptical of the defense. Are you still feeling that way? I mean, are you kind of keeping up with what's going on now? The fall there's going to be a substantial injury. That it always occurs. But
I'm a little concerned about the other defensive end spot because that's really unproven over there. And again, when you start talking about plugging in true freshmen at any position except receiver or running back, you have to be concerned. And Christian Wilkins, I know, is a highly touted recruit, but he's a 0-star now when he gets to college, okay? I don't play the star game. I never pay attention to star ratings. They mean nothing to me. I know he was a heavily recruited player in terms of his offers, could have gone anywhere. That tells me something. That tells me a lot of people who make a lot of money thinks he can be a good football player in college, maybe a great player. But you plug in a freshman anywhere, starting role, except running back or receiver, and I think you've got a problem. Googe, would you agree with that, a former college coach, that if you are plugging in a true freshman as a starter from the get-go, you've got some issues somewhere? Unless, I know a Clowney's a special type, but those are few and far between at non-skill positions.
Well, during my time here, Kevin Breedlove went to Georgia and started as a freshman out of the upstate, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, he performed very well. So it can happen.
Well, I know it can happen, but we'll talk more about it in just a moment. I'm going to squeeze something out of Gooch here before we let him go. We'll be back in a moment.
First and foremost, I just want to say what an honor it is to be back in the SEC, and how humbling it is to be the head ball coach at the University of Florida. It's something you dream of as you go through this profession, and I can't tell you how honored and excited I am. Well, I think, part of the experience of being in this conference, realize that it doesn't happen just overnight.
Goose, I am smart enough to know that at the major college level, just like at the NFL level, if you're starting a first-year guy at any position other than running back or receiver, then you got a problem unless that guy's just a great player and blows everyone away. I mean, you don't want to be in a position like Clemson is of having to start a true freshman at left tackle. You don't want to be in a position of starting a true freshman, say, at free safety. I mean, those guys get you beat oftentimes. Is that not right because of lack of experience?
Let me take you back to 1999 when I was coaching with the Gamecocks and went 0-11. The next year, we ended up playing, I think, Ohio State in the Outback Bowl, and we did it with a freshman named Travell Wharton playing left tackle. Played every game.
But he had gone to prep school. He had gone to prep school for a year.
No, he did not. He worked at Bilo and was taking a science class up at Hillcrest. Okay, he was a freshman. He had gone no other football beyond his high school football. So
he did not go to prep school that year.
He did not go to prep school.
Bilo's
a prep
football, great football training.
They really do
as part of the
Bilo prep.
Bagging those groceries tough.
I prefer Winn-Dixie Community College.
All right, so go ahead. So your point is,
I'm just saying it happens more than you think. And if you have a
Travell
player,
became a great player, but did he not drive you crazy that freshman?
Travell
that first year
was my best player from the day he walked in to the day he left. That's why he had a 10, 11-year career in the National Football League, because he just understood the game.
Other than talent, the ability to listen to the coach, transfer very quickly what he's being taught. Is that the key to being a great professional? Being able to learn on the fly.
It's a mental game more so than
this is why New England only you're not in the personnel department, but there is that thing where New England only drafts college graduates. I heard they try to find.
I know this. When I do go out to scout a player, I work him 3 hours in the classroom, 20 minutes on the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we determine whether he could play or not. We want to know how much he could digest and how much he can absorb.
Patriots, they do it all the right way. Oh, they've only been, accused of filming another team's practices in a preparation for a playoff game or deflating the football. What else do they do?
Phil, I don't need to defend the New England Patriots. You need to defend your teams. I'm just telling you, smart players win football games, and dumb players, or players that can't conceptualize, they lose games for you.
Well, if you wouldn't trade Tom Brady for Aaron Rodgers today, straight up, if you wouldn't make that trade, I got to wonder about you.
Why would you make that trade?
I wouldn't make the trade. I'm just saying, if you were the
Of course
Patriots,
you wouldn't.
I wouldn't make
You
that
wouldn't
trade.
trade Kevin Garnett for Michael Jordan.
Phil, you're a fan. You're a Green Bay fan, and you think like a fan right now.
Thinking like he's got a big block of cheese on
Now,
his
I will
head.
say this. I enjoyed watching Aaron Rodgers on Jeopardy. He did a heck of a job. He crushed it. He did a great job.
He crushed it.
And you know what? He's the kind of guy that could play for New England because he's smart. And he's more
But
than
he
just
doesn't want to. He wants to play his entire career in Green Bay where it's really cold.
Well, we can't always get what we want. I want to live my entire life in Prosperity, South Carolina on Lake Murray, but I'm forced to deal with 110 inches of snow this past winter. It happens. Things happen.
But you grew up in Boston. You knew what to expect.
It doesn't mean that's
But
what
he
I
got
want.
used to. But Goose, that's why I'm trying to tell people that for years I'm saying, look, if you don't think a football player uses his mind, okay, fine. I'd like you to go to a coaching office and then let them give you the playbook and see if you decipher it, and then go out in the field and do what they do and tell me they can't think.
If the mental part of the game wasn't so important, all the innovative techniques, all the tape study, the 3D what do they call them? Not the visual rooms, but the virtual reality rooms that they're creating now for players, the audio tapes that they use to simulate game sounds and things. All these scientific technology, technological resources that they're bringing into the college game and they're using in the pro game. Though, if the mental part of the game wasn't important, they wouldn't invent those things. They wouldn't be helping players in that way. It's more important than the physical. There's plenty of big, fast, strong, athletic, great-looking cats walking around the street that can't play in the National Football League or college football, for that matter. And Phil, you're not one of those people.
I would 100% agree with that assessment. All right, Jim McElwain made his initial appearance at SEC Media Days today. He, of course, is the new head coach of the Florida Gators, inheriting a team that has been underachieving in recent years, and they are hoping that he will be the man to turn it around. And he was asked today how quickly he thinks he can get things moving in a championship direction.
Well, I think, part of the experience of being in this conference, realizing that it doesn't happen just overnight is something that we know. And yet, every time we go to work every day, every time we wake up, our responsibility is to try to go out there and win. And there's never been a game that we haven't been in that we don't think that we're going to go out and be successful. And that's really what it's all about. We've got a ways to go, and yet there were some good things in place. Coach Muschamp and his staff did some really good things, obviously setting the table, and we need to just pick up from that and move forward.
Okay, Coach, we'll go here in the center, right in the middle.
Stephen M. Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Coach, during the Steve Spurrier era, it was more of the air ball, not passing the ball, throwing it around the field. Of course, Urban Meyer's era, it was more of a balanced offense, defense, with Tim Tebow kind of being the glue in there. What dynamic do you tend to bring to this Florida team?
Well, I think, background-wise, just historically growing up out west and kind of being in a Big Sky Conference as long as we were, we threw it around the park quite a bit, something we believe in. And yet at the end of the day, you learn as you kind of go through that you've got to be able to run the ball and stop the run to be successful. So, that being said, fitting the parts in that we have and finding out how exactly we're going to go about it is something that we look forward to building as we get there in August.
Coach, we'll go over here on the left in the front row, Ron.
Yeah, Jimmy, you talked about having time to build something at Florida. The last 5 coaches in this league that were fired in 4 years or fewer. Yeah. So, how do you turn it that quick, especially in offense, which is in the state of Florida, they expect you to have a great offense with that high school talent. How do you flip that quick?
Well, I think one of the things is, it's kind of great to have the expectations. And that's something that we look forward to and embrace. We obviously, from a recruiting print, we're in an area that I think we can probably attract some explosive playmakers along the way. And yet And it all starts up front on both sides of the ball. So us rebuilding that offensive line to allow us an opportunity to be successful is something that we really need to do.
Okay, we'll go right here in front. Pat?
Yeah, Pat Dooley, Gainesville's son. Coach, can you talk about that offensive line and how, I mean, is it going to force you to do some things with bells and whistles rather than maybe conventionally the way you've done it in the past?
Well, yeah, I think when you look, the bells and whistles, we're a multiple shift, multiple motion, try to create as much confusion, some unbalance, create an edge here and there, to give us an opportunity. And we'll continue to do that. Kind of how they grow is kind of how we're going to grow. And yet, as we kind of move in, we've got to probably kind of reflect back to maybe a little bit of our NFL roots, get that core 7 or 8 guys that can maybe swap some spots as we develop, those younger guys coming in. And I know this, we'll have some people to choose from. I'm excited about that group. And, I think we're 15, 16 deep right now. And from what, the words are, they've been working their tail off and are excited for the opportunity.
Okay, Jim McElwain, new head coach of the Florida Gators. He's got some work ahead of him, got some quarterback issues to have answered to get things started, and then they'll go on from there. We'll be back. Derek Mason, Vanderbilt, coming up. right, coming up tomorrow in Hoover, of course, the Gamecock's going to be here pretty early. They're going to make me work early in the morning, which goes against my grain. South Carolina will be here tomorrow. Steve Spurrier and the Gamecocks, 3 players. We'll have that covered for you early in the day on the website, sportstalksc.com. We have also got coming in tomorrow, Mississippi State is going to be here. That means Prescott will be here, one of the stars of the leagues. We get Pharaoh Cooper and we get Prescott on the same day. We've got Kentucky coming in tomorrow. That's a yawn. I'm sorry, that's on Wednesday. Let me get to Tuesday. We've got Texas A&M coming in tomorrow, and Tennessee. Tennessee's going to be my pick to win the SEC championship, I think. Think a little bit more about that after I've got to listen to some more coaches and players talk. But the Gamecocks, the Aggies, Mississippi State, and the Vols will be in tomorrow. Vanderbilt was in today. USC, of course, plays the Commodore. Derek Mason going into year number 2, and basically opened up his comments by taking the blame for what happened in year number 1.
Here's what I do know. In looking at the people in attendance to the Commodore Nation, I know last year was a little bit of a disruptive road that we were on. And this football team has done a tremendous job in moving forward. And what that looks like for us is this. I know it's disappointing, the season we had a year ago, but that's a comma. It's a comma, okay, and not a period. And this football team has definitely done the things that we need to do in order to get ourselves back on track and be exactly what we want to be. Our program has made great strides in the last 8 months since that Tennessee finale. This football team is equipped and has worked towards the challenge of being a better team. And when I look at that, I understand some things about us. We needed to make some changes. So those changes, whether they were staff or structure or team concept, had more to do with us not being right, but us getting it right. And with the help of David Williams and Chancellor Zeppos, we were able to set about the path of making sure that Vanderbilt football can move towards progress. And that's exactly what we're doing. I want to let you know, too, that we've done a great job on our campus on the West End of moving towards reinventing ourselves, moving towards progress. And what that looks like is trying to ensure a future for our student athletes of having success both on and off the field. It's important. It's what we strive for, and it's not one-dimensional. You got to be about the things that matter. And looking at our identity, this football team is a much different football team than it was a year ago. The biggest component that I felt like we fell short in watching our games was being competitive, what that looked like. We won a very competitive football team in 2014, and that's on me. I take full responsibility for that. But in knowing that this football team will compete, we sort of set about what we call the ITTI factor on the West End, and that's making sure that we're relentless, we're tough, and we're intelligent. Now, I'll speak a little bit on that, and then I'll move on. When I talk about relentless, I talk about being a team that plays 4 quarters, 60 minutes every play. Got to do that. Okay, that's got to be our calling card. When I talk about tough, you talk about a mindset. James Dobson, our strength and conditioning coach, has changed our physique. We look like an SEC football team, but that's got to manifest itself in our mindset and how we play. And then last, we talk about intelligence. And people make the assumption because we sit on the West End, okay, that it's just about being smart, but it's not. That's a state of mind. That's what we have to do in this game to be better players. And so when you look at turnovers, when you look at penalties, when you look at this football team's inability to be effective in third down efficiency on both sides of the ball and in the red zone, that's football IQ. So we've worked hard to improve our football intelligence, and we believe that we're definitely on the right path.
All right, Derek Mason basically falling on the sword for what happened with his team last year. He inherited a team that had some unusual success under his predecessor,
and of course they just bombed last year, didn't win an SEC game. So he's trying to sort of wipe the slate clean, made some changes on the staff, going to concentrate himself on the defense, which has been his forte. That's what he was known for at Stanford, was that defense. So he's going to focus more on that and turn the offense over to somebody else and hope that that makes a difference. We shall see. He does have a great little player in the Webb kid, and they plan to use him even more extensively than they did last year. All right, we're going to hit a break. We'll wrap things up from Hoover and Columbia in a moment. I certainly want to thank Gooch for taking a time out from his not so busy summertime. What are you doing? So, I mean, like around the ranch and around the estates, you got the wife, you got the kids, you got the cows, you got the boat. What are you?
It's
what
pure
are you doing?
recreation this time. No yard work. Not well. I lay a little pine straw, but I've been out in the boat swimming every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying Lake Murray as it should be enjoyed.
You have a pontoon boat?
I have a beautiful pontoon boat with a very large motor that allows it to go at Italian speed.
What size engine do you have?
I have a 225.
That's good size.
Well, I'm a good size guy.
I was going to say that boat has to carry a pretty good amount of weight when you're on it.
Hey, listen,
you know
what? When you have a name like Pacifico de Guglielmo, you need to ride in style. You know what I'm saying?
I like it. So your prediction for the Patriots this coming season will be what?
We will play hard and smart.
Yeah,
that's my prediction. Mm-hmm.
How many games will you be without your starting quarterback?
Well, I guess we're all waiting to find that out, aren't we?
Well, didn't they already say, K-Mac? Didn't they already?
No.
I thought they haven't thrown the number out there yet.
They threw 4, but they haven't thrown that.
Corn, why are you doing
Phil,
this?
Nothing.
Why are you doing
nothing's set in stone, as we know, Phil. Nothing said.
No, the only thing
I know what's going to happen. The mamby-pamby commissioner is going to have a meeting and go, okay, one exhibition game. You have to sit out the third exhibition game.
Phil, unlike you, I have a lot of respect for our commissioner and the process.
There you go.
And you need to understand that.
Well,
who's your backup quarterback? Who's number 2?
Well, we don't know. We have a number of quarterbacks on
Oh,
our
so
team.
here you go. That's,
and I'm not
that's
gonna.
not good.
I'm
That's
not about giving a
good.
depth chart. I mean, I don't know. All I know is I have a great group of linemen to work with, and I'm excited to work with them. I really am.
Yes, pro. Yes, pro. You
No,
want to say something?
I was about to ask him because now that he's in his division, might be fun to devise some ways to block Ndamukong Suh, who's down in Miami. All
We
of a
blocked them
sudden.
last year. We played Detroit at home last year, and we didn't run the ball very well against him. He's a tremendous football player, and it's going to be quite a challenge.
Quick question.
Yes.
Y'all play the Texans this year?
We do.
All right. How you going to handle a healthy?
I'm more worried about J.J. Watt and Vince Wilfork.
Okay, I give you that. I give you that.
And you know what? When Jadeveon's ready to go, I'll worry about him too.
Do you think they're making a mistake making him a stand-up linebacker?
I think they have some great defensive minds. Romeo Cornell's a great defensive coordinator. He'll get him in the right place.
All right, Gooch. We love you, man.
Well, Phil, thanks for having me.
With us.
I appreciate it. I love Columbia. I love the Midlands.
And how much of an advance warning do I have to give you next time I need Patriots tickets?
You better look at the schedule tonight and tell me in the next 48 hours.
All right, my man. Have a great season.
Thank you.
Guys, thanks very much, and great being back. And we will have the Gamecocks covered for you tomorrow and everything else going on here at SEC Media Days. For K-Mac, the Pro and State Man, have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.